It's the Mueller report, page 142. We're picking up with a meeting between Manafort and Georgy Oganov. Oganov, who had previously worked at the Russian embassy in the United States, was a senior executive at a Deripaska company and was believed to report directly to Deripaska. Deripaska being the Kremlin-connected Russian, or maybe he's Ukrainian oligarch who is building a steel and aluminum factory in Kentucky to help Mitch McConnell get reelected in 2020. Manafort initially denied attending the meeting. When he later acknowledged it, he claimed that the meeting had been arranged by his lawyers and concerned only the Pericles lawsuit. Other evidence, however, provides reason to doubt Manafort's statement that the sole topic of the meeting was the Pericles lawsuit. Pericles was an investment fund that Manafort put together with money from Deripaska and others that then, he apparently stripped all the money out of it and went bankrupt. And some of these oligarchs are pretty PO'd at him. In particular, text messages to Manafort from a number associated with Kilimnik suggest that Kilimnik and Boyarkin, not Manafort's counsel, had arranged the meeting between Manafort and Oganov. Kilimnik's message states that the meeting was supposed to be not about money or Pericles, Pericles being the failed investment fund that Manafort essentially robbed, apparently, but instead, quote, about recreating the old friendship, ostensibly between Manafort and Deripaska, and talking about global politics. Manafort also replied by text that he, quote, needs this finished before January 20th, which appears to be a reference to resolving Pericles, that is, all the lawsuits and bad blood over Manafort robbing these oligarchs, these Russian oligarchs, to resolving Pericles before the inauguration. On January 15, 2017, 3 days after his return from Madrid, Manafort emailed KT McFarland, who was at that time designated to be a deputy national security advisor and was formally appointed to that position on January 20th, 2017. That was Inauguration Day. Manafort's January 15 email to McFarland stated, "I have some important information I want to share that I picked up on my travels over the last month." Manafort told the office, the Mueller office, that the email referred to an issue regarding Cuba, not Russia or Ukraine, and Manafort had traveled to Cuba in the past month. Either way, McFarland, who was advised by Flynn not to respond to the Manafort inquiry, appears to have not responded to Manafort. Manafort told the office, the Mueller office, that around the time of the presidential inauguration in January, he met with Kilimnik and Ukrainian oligarch Serhiy Lyovochkin at the Western Hotel in Alexandria, Virginia. During this meeting, Kilimnik had again discussed the Yanukovych peace plan that he had broached in the August 2nd meeting and in a detailed December 8, 2016 message found in Kilimnik's DMP email account. In that November 8 email, which Manafort acknowledged having read, Kilimnik wrote, quote, "All that is required to start the process is a very minor wink or slight push from DT," an apparent reference to President-elect Trump, "and a decision to authorize you to be a special representative and manage this process." Kilimnik assured Manafort that with that authority, he, quote, could start the process and within 10 days visit Russia. Yanukovych guarantees your reception at the very top level, and that Donald Trump could have peace in Ukraine basically within a few months after inauguration. As noted above, blacked out by Bill Barr, and the statements to the office, Manafort sought to qualify his engagement on and support for the plan. And then the entire rest of that paragraph, multiple sentences, have been blacked out by Bill Barr. On February 26, 2017, Manafort met Kilimnik in Madrid, where Kilimnik had flown from Moscow. In his first two interviews with the Mueller office, Manafort denied meeting with Kilimnik on his Madrid trip, and then, after being confronted with documentary evidence that Kilimnik was in Madrid at the same time as him, recognized that he had met him in Madrid. Manafort said that Kilimnik had updated him on a criminal investigation into so-called black ledger payments to Manafort that was being conducted by Ukraine's National Anti-Corruption Bureau. And the entire rest of page 143 has been blacked out by Bill Barr. Page 144. Those contacts included matters pertaining to the criminal charges brought by the Mueller office and the Ukrainian peace plan. In early 2018, Manafort retained his longtime polling firm to craft a draft poll in Ukraine, sent the pollsters a 3-page primer on the plans sent by Kilimnik, and worked with Kilimnik to formulate the polling questions. The primer sent to the pollsters specifically called for the United States and President Trump to support the Autonomous Republic of Donbass. That's the eastern region of Ukraine that speaks Russian, is very pro-Russia, with Yanukovych as prime minister. That would mean basically splitting Ukraine in half. And a series of questions in the draft poll asked for opinions on Yanukovych's role in resolving the conflict in Donbass. The poll was not solely about Donbass. It also sought participants' views on leaders apart from Yanukovych as they pertain to the 2019 Ukrainian presidential election. The office has not uncovered evidence that Manafort brought the Ukraine peace plan to the attention of the Trump campaign or the Trump administration. Kilimnik continues his efforts to promote the peace plan to the executive branch, that is, the U.S. Department of State, into the summer of 2018. B, post-election and transition period contacts. Trump was elected president on November 8, 2016. Beginning immediately after the election, individuals connected to the Russian government started contacting officials on the Trump campaign and transition team through multiple channels, sometimes through Russian Ambassador Kislyak. It's the Mueller report, page 144.